Right now, in this exact moment, what are you looking for? I mean it. Pause for just a second and ask yourself, why are you here watching this video? What do you expect to get from the next 10 minutes? Maybe you're hoping to feel inspired. Maybe you want to learn something that makes you feel more capable. Maybe you're bored and just filling the silence. Or maybe, and this one is worth sitting with, you're trying to avoid something. A feeling, a thought, a quiet that makes you uncomfortable. Most of us move through our days without ever asking this question. We just go. We reach for the phone, open an app, click play, on autopilot. And that autopilot has an agenda. It's always chasing something, always running from something else. Today we're going to slow that down. What is an intention really? Intention is one of those words that sounds simple but opens up into something much deeper the longer you look at it. At its core, an intention is the underlying motivation behind an action. Not just what you do, but why you do it. And here's what's fascinating from a neuroscience perspective. Most of our intentions operate below the level of conscious awareness. Brain imaging research shows that neural activity predicts our decisions several seconds before we're even consciously aware of making a choice. In other words, you've already decided before you decide. That means if you never examine your intentions, you're not really choosing your life. You're confirming a pattern that was set a long time ago. So let's look at some of those patterns. Here's something worth sitting with. Most of what we do is an attempt to feel a certain way. We eat not just because we're hungry, but because food gives us pleasure, comfort, familiarity. We check our phones not just to stay informed, but because notifications give us a small hit of validation. We binge watch shows not just for entertainment, but because it numbs the restlessness. Neuroscience confirms this. The brain's reward system, centered around dopamine, is constantly scanning the environment for potential rewards. And over time, it gets very good at predicting which behaviors will deliver that reward. Scrolling, snacking, seeking novelty, these become deeply grooved habits. Because they work, they deliver the feeling, at least in the short term. But here's the catch. The more we satisfy a craving, the stronger it becomes. This is known in psychology as the hedonic treadmill. Each time we chase comfort and find it, our baseline expectation shifts. What once felt like a treat becomes the baseline. And then we need more to get the same effect. You've probably felt this. A moment of joy that fades faster than you expected. A goal you reached that felt hollow. A habit that started as a choice and slowly became a compulsion. Philosophy has a word for this cycle. The quiet, persistent sense of never quite arriving, never quite feeling like enough. And the question worth asking is, are you aware that you're in this loop? Because awareness is the first exit. Here's where it gets interesting and a little uncomfortable. If I asked you to list your top 5 values right now, what would they be? Take a moment. Maybe it's connection, authenticity, growth, family, creativity, health. Now ask yourself honestly, does the way you spend your average day actually reflect those values? Because there's often a significant gap between what we say we value and what we actually spend our time and energy on. Research consistently shows that when there's a mismatch between values and behavior, people report lower well-being and less meaning. It's not a moral judgment, it's just a gap, and gaps can be closed. So when you look at your intention right now, watching this video, is it aligned with something you actually care about? Or is it a way to avoid something that matters more? Here's something that might be the most important idea in this entire video. We are in a quiet war against discomfort. Everything in the modern environment is designed to keep us comfortable. Fast entertainment, instant food, algorithms that feed us exactly what we already like, infinite content to fill every silent moment. And while comfort isn't the enemy, it becomes a problem when the avoidance of discomfort starts running your life. Research on psychological flexibility, the ability to sit with uncomfortable thoughts without immediately escaping them, shows this is a strong predictor of mental health. The people who can tolerate uncertainty, boredom, restlessness, without reflexively reaching for a distraction, tend to live richer, more intentional lives. Not because discomfort is noble, but because when you stop running from it, you also stop running from your actual life. Connection, the underrated value. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you had a real conversation? One where you weren't performing, weren't distracted, weren't already thinking about the next thing. A conversation where you were just present with another person. Study after study identifies genuine human connection as one of the most powerful contributors to health, longevity, and subjective well-being. Not passive consumption of other people's lives online. Real, present, embodied contact. And yet, how much of our time is spent in genuine connection versus managed distance? How often do we choose a screen over a person? How often do we choose familiarity over vulnerability, comfort over actual contact? Your intention matters here too. Are you actually opening up? So what do we do with all of this? Here's a practice that sounds almost too simple but is genuinely transformative. Before you act, before you reach for the phone, open the fridge, start a conversation, pause for just one breath and ask, what is my intention right now? That's it. One breath, one question. This isn't about judging yourself or second-guessing every move. It's about inserting a moment of awareness into the automatic current. Neuroscientists call this top-down regulation, the part of your brain responsible for deliberate thought checking in on the impulse before it becomes an action. Over time, this practice changes how you make decisions. Not dramatically, not all at once, but gradually. The way water shapes stone. The impulse is still there. The craving is still there. But now there's a gap. And in that gap, there is choice. There's something even deeper here, and I want to touch on it before we close. When we talk about intention, we're ultimately talking about presence. About whether you are actually here, or somewhere else in your mind while your body goes through the motions. The quality of your intention reflects the quality of your attention. And attention is, in many ways, the substance of your life. Whatever you consistently give attention to grows. Whatever you consistently ignore atrophies. Presence is not an abstract ideal. It's a neurological state. When you're present, your nervous system shifts from reactive to responsive. Perception widens. You make choices from clarity rather than compulsion. And the most remarkable thing? You don't need to earn it. You just need to pause long enough to notice where you are. So let me bring it back to where we started. Right now, in this moment, what were you looking for when you pressed play? Maybe you found it. Maybe you found something different. Maybe this opened a question you hadn't thought to ask before. Whatever it is, that's your edge. That's where growth actually lives. Not in the content you consume, not in the goals you optimize, but in the moment you stop and honestly ask, what do I actually want here? And is what I'm doing moving me toward it? Start there, just start there. If something in this landed for you, sit with it for a moment before you click the next thing. That pause is the practice. In summary, intention is the quiet motivation behind every action. By becoming aware of it, we break the autopilot of craving and comfort. Align your daily actions with your actual values. And remember that presence is a neurological state you can choose, one breath at a time. Thank you for your time. Take care.